So my background is in brand and culture change strategy. And I was doing that for about 15 years before I decided to leave and set up my own business, Floetic. And what I was essentially doing during that time was I was working with executive teams around, if this is the strategy that we have for the business, what is the culture that we need to land that strategy into to be successful? And I can tell you that pretty much every conversation was always the same. So it didn't matter what industry we were talking to, this is pretty much what an exec team would say. Our business is transforming faster than it ever has before, and therefore we want our people to be more resilient, we want them to be more comfortable with ambiguity, and we want them to innovate faster than ever because our customer needs are constantly changing. And when you hear an exec team tell you that, they're just code for saying we want more from our people. And then what tends to happen is they come up with various actions to try and drive this culture change that they're looking for. And this often ends up being things like a reduction in FTE and headcount. They invest loads of money in leadership coaching, and then they just hope that it cascades down. Or they start implementing things like agile project frameworks or design thinking methodologies. And it's all done with wonderful intention, but it often doesn't get the results. And what I personally believe is that we can actually change that culture change from the bottom up by helping individuals to build the skills they need. So what I do in my business is that I work with individuals to help them unlock their innate creativity, resilience, and purpose. And I do that by helping them build their own toolkit of skills. So if they wake up in the morning and they're completely anxious or they don't know how to deal with their day, they can actually go into their toolkit and they can shift it. So that's why today what we're going to be covering off is how you're creating your mindset, how you can shift your mindset, and we're going to be doing some actual techniques here in the session today. And then we're also, as Lucas has mentioned, we're going to build some new neural pathways by doing some hypnotherapy at the end of the session as well. So today it's not about why mindset's important. We all know that. You all know that. We know top performing sports people have wonderful ability to manage their mindset. It's all about the how. So before we get stuck in, I'm just really interested, how many of you have ever been hypnotized before? And if you have, do you want to just pop it in the chat box with a Y or a yes, just so I can see how many of you have been hypnotized? Okay, we've got some no's, some more no's. Great, well, look, for you guys, it's going to be a nice new experience this evening. And before we come on to that point of the evening, I promise you that I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. But for now, let's just dive on in. So I've told you a bit about my background up till now, but at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm working as an NLP master practitioner, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and I'm a hypnotherapist and I'm a meditation teacher. And because that's what I do, I'm working an awful lot with the unconscious mind. And so, in fact, only 4% of our mind is in our conscious awareness at any time. And that's a really small amount. And so if we're trying to strive for our goals and the things that we want to achieve by only working within that 4% that we're consciously aware of, it's a little bit like popping your car into first gear and then wondering why it is that you can't get up any speed. Because 96% of your mind is your unconscious mind. And the reality is that it's actually running the show. There is so much happening in every moment that we are not consciously aware of. Now, the unconscious mind has a lot of what we call prime directives. So it's jobs that it has to do. And I haven't got time to take you through all of those, but I want to draw your attention to two of those. So one of the prime directives is to preserve the physical body. And so at all causes, it's going to try and keep you physically safe and sound. And actually the unconscious mind is running the physical body. It's there running your heartbeat, your lungs, your digestive system, releasing hormones. It's making sure that everything's working as it should do. The very top prime directive of the unconscious mind is to preserve your identity. So whoever you are at your core, it will do every single thing it can to maintain that. And that is really, really interesting because it influences so much of our behavior and how we react to things. And I want to give you a really tangible example about this. So the person I'm about to describe, it might be you. And if it isn't you, you'll know somebody who I'm describing like this. So this is the person who always seems to be carrying a little bit more weight on their body, okay? Not much, but there's always a bit more. It doesn't matter how much they work out, how many diets they go on, they never seem to quite get down to that weight they want to get to. Or they do get down to it and the weight comes back. Now, one of the reasons that might be is because at their core, they may well have an identity that they are a person who carries a little bit of extra weight. And if that's the case, and that's the identity that your unconscious mind wants to preserve, it will, and it can, because it's far more powerful than your conscious mind. So for example, it's your unconscious mind that runs your metabolism. So all it needs to do is slow it down. It's also your unconscious mind that regulates your appetite. So it makes you more hungry and it makes it really hard for you to stick onto that diet, even though you're trying loads. It's also going to monitor how tired you are. And so it's harder for you to get up in the morning and get out and do that exercise. So the unconscious mind is absolutely in control. And so it's important to know this because if you're creating goals and if you're trying to do things in your business and your unconscious mind is not on board, you will not achieve them. And where we often see this with entrepreneurs, people starting their own businesses, is that they will come up with these revenue goals and they have decided this is the revenue that they want to hit in year 1, year 3, etc. And actually viably, when you look at their products and you look at what they do, they could totally get to that revenue goal. But they might not have at their core actually started that business to reach a revenue like that. They might have been striving for other things. And that is why they never seem to ever hit the revenue that they keep talking about. So really important to know that your unconscious mind is truly running the show. So if only 4% of our mind is in our conscious awareness at any time, it does rather beg 2 questions. So firstly, how can we influence that 4% so that in the moment we have the best experience? And then how can we work with that 96% of our unconscious mind so that we can get the best results and the best performance? And that's what we're going to touch on over the course of this evening. So, how do we create our current experience? So every single second, every moment, we have masses of sensory information coming into us, coming in through our eyes, our ears, our sense of feeling, taste, smell. And it's a huge amount of information. It's actually 2 million bits every single second. If you and I were consciously aware of that information, we would have complete information overload. We wouldn't even know what to do with it. So what happens is we filter it so that we aren't consciously aware of those 2 million bits. And we filter that through a place called the Reticulator activating system, which is here. It's at the bottom of your brain, just above the neck. It's a very old piece of our brain. And sitting in the Reticulator activating system is a whole bunch of filters that will filter this information. And I've got some of them listed for you here. Everything from the way we use language, the memories we have, the way we make decisions, our meta programs. I'm going to tell you a bit more about meta programs shortly, and we're actually going to define one of your complex meta programs in the session today. And it's also through your values, your beliefs, your attitude. All of these things will filter those 2 million bits of information. But fundamentally, if we boil it down, the Reticulator activating system will give you information based on what it believes is important. And the way that it determines that is two ways. The first one is anything that's going to keep you alive and safe. So if you remember, one of the prime directives of the unconscious mind is to preserve the physical body. So that means that if you're going to cross the road, you're going to get the sensory information to see the cars, to hear the cars. The other place, and this is where it's really interesting, of how it determines what is important to you, is what you focus on. Let me say that again. What you focus on is what's important, and that's what it gives you more of. So that's why when you buy a new car, all of a sudden, you see that car everywhere that you go. And it's not that there's more of that car on the road. It's just for a period of time, you've been talking about the car, thinking about the car, test driving the car, looking at the features on the car, talking to your friends about the car, buying the car, spending all that money on the car. And so your reticulator activating system goes, this is really important to us because we've been focusing on it. We're going to give you more. It's exactly why when you've made a decision that someone doesn't like you, you get all the evidence that they don't like you. In fact, all you're getting is a very small amount of all the information that's available to you. And equally, you know what it's like when you meet someone new and you start to fall in love and you're just convinced this is the person for you? Well, you're getting all of that information, even though your friends are standing on the sidelines seeing all the red flags that you're not seeing. So, once this filtering has taken place, what pops out the other end? Well, that 2 million bits of information goes all the way down to 134 bits, so a much, much smaller amount. When we've got that 134 bits, this is essentially what happens. First, we create an internal representation. That's just where we give it some meaning. It's just meaning making. Then we go on to create our state, which is the emotion that we assign to it. And then finally, we create our physiology based off of that. But here's the other really interesting thing. This is not a linear process, so it doesn't have to go in that order. What you can do is play with your physiology to actually change your emotion and change your internal representation or the meaning. So if you've ever seen those TED Talks where they talk about power poses, and a power pose is where you have your shoulders back, you have your hands on your hips and you stand with your legs apart. This is why this is so powerful. So if you're going on a date, a job interview, you're going to present to the Academy of Entrepreneurs, you ought to be power posing before you go and do it, because this physiology creates a state of confidence and it will create an internal representation of, I've got this. However, on the other way around, if you sit slumped like this, that physiology will create a state of feeling nervous. And that will create an internal representation of, this is probably not going to go really well. I'm probably going to screw it up. So there's a couple of places here that are really, really powerful for you to be aware of. You can actually affect your current experience by playing with your physiology and by also being aware of the meaning that you have decided to give something. Because let's be honest, you've never got the full picture. You've only got 134 bits of the information that's actually available to you at any time. And this is why there is no concept of reality. There's only the reality that you create, which is why you can see an accident or you can be in a meeting with somebody and you will never replay back exactly the same scenario. You're only ever seeing your take on it. So this is a place that we can influence our experience by looking at the meaning we're making, the emotion and the physiology. And then the other one is actually looking at what we focus our reticulator activating system on. So if that's the case, how do we influence those 134 bits of information that are coming into us every second? Well, there's some really straightforward ways that you can do this. So the first one is around your goals. The unconscious mind is a goal-seeking machine. It wants to give you what you want. However, it needs some really, really clear direction on what it is. So if you create goals that really speak to your unconscious mind and really bring to life what you're going to be visually seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and feeling and saying to yourself when those goals are achieved, It creates an awful lot of clarity and focus for your unconscious mind. It also means that your reticular activating system knows exactly what it's looking for. So when you're creating goals for your business, really bring them to life. Don't allow them to be something that stays on the paper with sort of revenue figures and quite dry elements. What do they really mean to you when they're really achieved? The second one is affirmations. Now, I can tell you the first time that I ever heard about affirmations was in a Sex and the City episode, because I'm that age that I grew up through my teens watching Sex and the City. And I remember watching this episode and going, what a lot of fluff. Like, this cannot work. However, now that I've spoken to you about how we actually process that information, you can see that affirmations are brilliant, because what they do is they create focus for us. It's what's important to us, and that repetition means that our reticulator activating system is going to show us more of that. And it's equally the same with gratitude. So if you're waking up every day and you're saying, I'm really thankful for the wonderful people in my life, then what will happen is your reticular activating system will show you more evidence of the wonderful people in your life. On top of affirmations, you can actually work with suggestions, which is what we call it in hypnosis, which is what we're going to be doing a little bit later. And then the other way that you can influence these 134 bits is becoming aware of those filters that I was talking about, and then doing really an active expanding of those filters. So knowing what it is that's coming through and then consciously looking for other things. And we are right now going to actually determine one of your complex meta programs. So meta programs, what are they? Well, the first work that was done on this was by Carl Jung, and he did some, or Jung, I never know if it's Jung or Jung, to be honest, but his work was around basic personality traits. That work was then taken by Briggs-Myers, not Myers-Briggs. Her name is Briggs-Myers, and she's not a he, she is a she. A lot of people think she's a he. But her work was around what we now call simple meta programs. And you'll know these. This is introvert, extrovert, feeler, thinker. Her work was then taken, and it was further evolved by a man called Richard Bandler, who's essentially the father of neurolinguistic programming. And he started to evolve more complex meta programs, and that work has been further evolved by other practitioners. But basically what they do is it tells us how we process. It tells us about our thinking. So if you can all grab a pen and a paper, because you're going to need to just write a couple of things down. I just want to make sure you've all got that. Is there anything coming through on the chat that I need to see?
Nothing on the chat.
Nothing on the chat. Great, just checking. Perfect. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down several statements, what you notice about these coins. Don't overthink it. Just simply write down the first few things that you notice. And just take the next sort of 20 seconds to do that. Okay, what I want you to do now is I want you to look at the statements that you have written down, and I want you to determine which ones are about how the coins are the same and which ones are about how the coins are different. And you might just want to put an S for same and a D for different against the different statements that you've written. So you should have an idea now of how many of your statements are about how the coins are the same and how many are about how they're different. And then what I want you to do is, looking at this scale, I want to work out where you sit on it. So if all of your statements are about how the coins are different, then you're up here on the differences side. If all of them are about how they're the same, you're on the sameness side. If you've got an even amount of both, you're bang in the middle. And then you can obviously work out where you are if you've got a bit of sameness with a bit of exception, or differences with a bit of exception. So just take a moment just to work out where you would sit on that scale. Okay, so what we have just determined is something called your relationship filter. Now, I just want to preface before I say any more that wherever you sit on that scale, nothing is better than anything else. They just play out in different ways in different scenarios. And what the relationship filter tells us is the following. It tells us the information we delete. So if you are a differences person, then you delete all the information that tells you something is the same. Alternatively, if you're a sameness person, you delete all the information about how something is different. It's also how we seek to understand. So if you're a differences person, then you want to know how this is different to this, so you can understand these two things in relation to each other. If you're a sameness person, you want to understand how they're the same. And it's just really useful to know what your filter is, because it allows you to check yourself and be conscious of the information that's coming into those 134 bits and the information that's not. So I'll be very honest and I'll tell you what my filter is. I am a differences with exception. So I can tell you that I am great in periods of change because I spot difference really quickly and I'm able to adapt to it. But equally, I notice every little bit of difference that happens in my relationships, which means that I can sometimes be a bit oversensitive, because if you've looked at me a bit different or you've spoken to me in a slightly different voice, my mind can be off wondering about what that actually means. If we take the scenario of COVID, when we first started to go into lockdown and there was a lot of fear a few months ago, I was very aware that my immediate place to go to is how my life is different. Okay. And so I would be noticing the fact that I wasn't able to go out to the places I was before, that I couldn't fly to the UK, all of these places that are different, which in that scenario is going to make you feel uncomfortable and anxious. It's not going to shape the experience you're having in the moment very well. So I actively went to look for all the ways that my life was the same, because I know I delete that information. And so when I start looking at it and going, actually, I still live in my flat, my fridge is full of food, I've still got all these people that I love, that I still speak to, I still get to go to walks down at the beach, I still work from home, I was doing that anyway. All of a sudden, it affects my experience. So that's what I mean about being aware of your filter and expanding it. The other thing this filter tells us is how we are motivated. So if you go up to a sameness person, and let's say I want them to go to a meeting for me in the afternoon. If I go to the sameness person and I say, can you go to that meeting for me this afternoon? They will respond and go, yes, I can go to that meeting for you in the afternoon. Pending there's, nothing that they actually have to do. That's because they like to respond in the same way. On the other end of the scale, if you are a differences person, you are something that we call a matchmaker. A mismatcher. And a mismatcher likes to disagree. So if I go to a mismatcher and I say, can you go to that meeting for me in the afternoon? They'll go, no, I can't. However, if I go to them and I say, you can't go to that meeting this afternoon, can you? You're going to be too busy. They'll go, oh no, yeah, I can. So it's really valuable to know that, because when you're dealing with people in your life, whether it's employees, colleagues, friends, family, if you know what their filter is, you can also shape your language. So it's quite interesting. And if you're sitting there going, but I'm right in the middle and all the examples you're giving me are on the ends, it's just useful if you're in the middle to be aware that you're not seeing all the sameness and you're not seeing all the difference. And so again, depending on the scenario, is it advantageous for you to seek out actively some more of the sameness or some more of the difference? And just very quickly, this shows you the percentages in brackets, so the percentages of the population that have each of these filters. And then what you have below it is how frequently each type of person needs change. I can tell you that if I am still in a job after 2 years, then I'm probably there because of visas. I need the variety to change. Again, this is really important because if you start employing people in your business, knowing where they are and knowing how you need to either evolve their role or change some of the stuff they're doing is important. And equally for yourself, when do you need to have different horizons in your business to ensure you're getting change in line with this particular meta filter that you have? Okay, so I'm now going to teach you a technique for problem solving. So what often happens when we have a problem, when something pops up at work or in our businesses, is that we go what we call very foveal on that program. We go tunnel vision, got to sort this out, I've got to come up with ideas. And we kind of knuckle down and start to brainstorm, try to problem solve. Now that is actually not the most effective state to problem solve from. Because when you have tunnel vision, you're actually not able to see a lot of the opportunities that are there for you. How we want to be is in something called expanded awareness, which is where we're much more open and we're actually able to see a lot more opportunities. So much better for problem solving. And if you think of people like Einstein, he never kind of really solved things when he was in the lab or he was sitting there doing equations. It had its place. But his aha moments were places like when he was in the bath, when he was in expanded awareness. And I want to teach you this because when we're at work and we're running our businesses and we're busy, we can't always just go have a bath when we want to do some problem solving. We can't wander off and take us into an activity that naturally takes us into expanded awareness. However, this technique allows you to do it in the moment. And I just want to say a little bit more here about foveal and expanded awareness. So foveal is the masculine energy, and just as a side note, when I talk about masculine energy and feminine energy, I don't mean man and woman. We both have to have both types of energy or we cannot be successful in life. It's about balancing the two energies for the right activities. So foveal, the masculine energy, the yang energy, it's the go, get it, single focus, keep everything out to the side. You all know what it feels like when you go, I've got 30 minutes and I've got to get this email out, and your head down and you literally don't hear what's happening around you. And if we think about the male archetype, it's the hunter who's out looking at the deer, completely foveal on killing that deer and taking it home for dinner. Expanded awareness, or the feminine energy, or the yin energy, however, is the energy that allows us to multitask. It's the one that allows us to have one eye on children over here. We think about the female archetype, and doing something over here and holding a conversation over here. And as I say, you need both. So if you're a man and you don't have any expanded awareness, any feminine yin energy, you will struggle to have nurturing relationships. And as a woman, if you don't have any of the yang and the foveal energy, you won't get shit done. So you've got to have both. But here is also a tip for the women who are with us this evening. If we are in very stressful jobs and we tend to be very foveal at work, and often when we're running our businesses and we're really passionate, it keeps us in a masculine energy state. And then we go on a date, we go home to our partners, and then we wonder why that polarity and that sexual magnetism is not there. This technique that I'm about to show you, do it before you go on a date. Do it before you go home to your partner to put you in that far more magnetic state. So if you guys are ready, the technique that I'm going to teach you is called Hakalau. And Hakalau is, we kind of borrowed it in NLP from the Hawaiians. And I'm just going to talk you through it so you can see how simple it is. So you're going to go into Hakalau right now. So if you guys just want to face straight ahead, just get yourself nice and comfortable. And I want you to pick a spot on the wall just above eye level, so about 45 degrees above eye level. Just allow your eyes to gently settle on that spot. Allow your thoughts to come and go. as you just allow your attention to keep focusing on that spot. And you will start to notice that your vision is beginning to spread out. Simply allow that to happen. And now begin to pay attention to the peripheral. And you may be able to notice that without moving your head or your eyes, that you can now see the corners of the room, depending on the room that you're in. You may be able to see the ceiling, and you may be able to see the floor. So right now, guys, you are all in expanded awareness. So you can come back out of that and come back to me and focally concentrate on me if you like. So another tip for you when you are brainstorming or you are problem solving is always come up with 13 ideas at a time. You will find that the first 5, 6 ideas, they come out pretty quick. And that's because they're coming out of your conscious mind. You will also notice that they're never original ideas. They're always a version of something you've done before or you've seen before. If you keep pushing through, you'll find that about idea 7, you'll feel like you've run out and you'll get this pause. But if you can sit with that pause and push through, the ideas that you get from about 7 to 13 will be much newer. And that's because you've accessed the unconscious mind. And that is very often where the gold is, and that's where the innovative ideas are. I make no guarantee that they're all viable. You still need to check that. But what you will do is you'll get a much richer brainstorming session. So next time you've got a problem solve, take yourself into Hakalau. You've just seen how easy that is, so that you brainstorm and you problem solve from an expanded awareness state. And when you're brainstorming, always push yourself to do 13. Okay, I'm going to do a very quick bit of information on hypnotherapy, and then we are going to dive into some hypno. So all you really need to know for this session is the following, is that we have a program for everything that we run in our body. So beating our heart, our lungs. We also have programs for how our behavior plays out. And some of those programs are more advantageous than others. And essentially what we do in hypnotherapy is we go in and we put in new programs that are more advantageous for you. And when we're talking about programs, we're actually talking about neural pathways, and we can create neural pathways through language. And if you actually read some of the stuff that's being done by neuroscientists these days, and they talk about neuroplasticity, they say that only 50% of your brain is determined by genes, and the other 50% is determined by your experiences, your relationships, the culture you grow up, and the language that you use. And so if I give you the analogy of sort of the Grand Canyon, for argument's sake, a neural pathway that you use all the time would be really deep, like one of those big gorges. And then a new neural pathway, which is what we will do in hypnotherapy, it's like taking a stick and literally scraping it into the sand. So it sort of gives you the direction for the new behavior and the new thing that you want to do. And the reason this works is because in hypnotherapy, what I'm essentially doing is I'm going to lead you into a theta brainwave state. So as we sit now and you're listening to me, we're in beta. One brainwave state slower below that is alpha. And I'm going to be taking you down into theta. And in theta, the door between the conscious and the unconscious mind is wide open. So it's the best place to learn. And it's the best place for us to suggest these new neural pathways, which may be advantageous for you. And so all you need to know is 3 things. You're going to find it deeply relaxing because theta is a really slow brainwave state. You're going to hear my voice at all times. So a lot of people think it's pendulums and chicken dances and all of that. You're not going to go anywhere. You'll just feel very relaxed and you'll hear me talking the whole time. And the final thing that's really important for you to know is that you are in control at all times. As much as I would like to believe I'm more powerful, as a hypnotherapist, I am nowhere near as powerful as your unconscious mind. As we've spoken about, it's absolutely running the show. So that means if there's anything that I say during the hypnotherapy that isn't congruent with you, you're just going to ignore it. You are completely in control. And then just so that you are aware, these are the suggestions that we're going to be working with. So simply the idea is that you are safe and you create your own certainty. You have all the ideas you could ever need inside of you, and that you are becoming more successful every day. So if you guys just want to get yourselves comfortable, just make sure that you've got mobile phones off and any notifications on the laptop, etc. It doesn't do any harm if they beep, it's just that you'll wrench yourself out and you won't get the full benefit. And if you just make sure you're sitting somewhere where your back is supported, so on the couch, maybe prop yourself up with some cushions if that's what you want to do, and put your feet flat onto the floor. Okay, and what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to lift your toes right up off the floor. So leave your heels on the floor, but the toes nice and high. So just wait for you guys to get comfortable. Lovely. So lift those toes right up off the floor. And then I want you to take your hands and I want you to place them on your lap with your palms facing upwards. And then you're going to take your gaze and I want you to look all the way up to the ceiling. Find a spot that you can look at effortlessly. And I want you to push your gaze right up as if you're trying to look at your eyebrows. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths. Number 1, breathe in. And as you breathe out, close your eyes and relax your head forward. Number 2, breathe in. And as you exhale, squeeze your hands really tightly into a fist, really, really tight. And then relax them and roll them over, palms down on your lap. And number 3, take a deep breath in. Hold it and count backwards as you exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet flat to the floor and completely relax. In a moment, I'm going to count from 10 to 0. As I count from 10 to 0, you're going to feel even more and more relaxed. You're not going to fall asleep. You won't lose consciousness. And you'll be able to hear my voice at all times. With each number you hear, say to yourself, I'm going deeper and deeper relaxed. By the time I reach 0, you will feel an incredible sense of relaxation and inner peace. 10. Gradually become aware of the sensations of sitting. 9. Feel your hands on your lap. Now allow gravity to settle you into your chair. 8. Now gradually become aware of the process of breathing. Notice where you feel the breath most distinctly, either at the tip of your nose or the rise and fall of your abdomen. 7. Just feel the mere sensations associated with the breath. From the beginning of the inhalation, through the pause between the breaths, and follow the exhalation to the end. 6. Breathing normally now, feeling absolutely wonderful. Simply recover the breath with your awareness. 5. Every time your mind wanders to a thought, gently return it to the breath. 4. If you're feeling sleepy, notice how it is that you're feeling sleepy. 3. What does it feel like in your body, your face, and behind your eyes? 2. Then come back to the sensations of breathing. 1. Deeper, deeper, deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. Take your attention to the feeling of your right hand. Notice how it feels. Now take your attention to your left hand. And as you do, drop down deeper, deeper, and deeper, returning your attention to your breathing. Say to yourself, I am feeling even deeper and deeper relaxed. 0. Now just enjoy that wonderful experience, that deep conscious sense and feeling of relaxation. That's right. Let that relaxation wash over you like warm molasses, like a vibration touching every muscle from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, relaxing your mind and your body, taking it even more deeply relaxed. Now allow the conscious mind to enjoy this experience in every way, and it has no need to pay attention to anything I'm saying, because now I'm speaking to the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is now waiting for suggestions to inspire the desire with self-hypnosis. You are in charge, you are safe, and you are creating your own certainty. You know that you have all of the ideas you could ever need right inside of you. Your ability to create and problem solve is limitless. You will now begin to take 3 deep breaths whenever you feel uncertain or anxious to remind yourself you are powerful, always worthy, and life is easy. Life flows for you always. You have all of the ideas you need. Success flows to me with ease. You know that what is better for you is to be confident, feeling powerful, always enough. You will now begin to take 3 deep breaths whenever you feel uncertain or anxious to remind yourself you are powerful, always worthy, and life is easy. Life flows for you always. You have all of the ideas you could ever need. And because you are resourceful, you always feel great. Feeling uncertain and powerless is for other people. You are powerful. You are always enough. So there are only feelings of peace and ease, and you know that you will only ever feel confident and open. You know this is the better way for you to feel. You'll place affirmations around the house, car, and at work to remind yourself how powerful you are, and you are always enough. Success flows to me with ease. And when you think of your business, you'll be overcome with a sense of ease, an inner knowing and certainty that success is yours. You'll place affirmations around the house, car, and at work to remind yourself how powerful you are, and you are always enough. Success flows to me with ease. And if something doesn't happen for you as you'd hoped, it will seem so natural to know you are still safe, still powerful. I am worthy. I am always enough. This will give you the inner knowing, a good feeling about who you are. Nod your head if you accept and understand that. You will now begin to take deep breaths whenever you feel uncertain or anxious to remind yourself you are powerful, always worthy, and life is easy. Life flows for you always. You have all of the ideas you could ever need. You'll place affirmations around the house, car, and at work to remind yourself how powerful you are, and you are always enough. Success flows to me with ease. In a moment, I will get you to take some deep breaths. As you exhale, please repeat in your mind what I continue to say out loud. Take a deep breath in. Now exhale and say in your mind, I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. Another deep breath in. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. And one final deep breath in. I am worthy of love and success. I am always enough. And when you have permission and agreement to start this transition, give a signal for yes by nodding your head. From this day forward, you will feel incredibly lucky and therefore be incredibly grateful for everything in your life. And because of this, and for whatever reason, all opportunities come to you. I am safe in this space and powerful in my place. From this moment on, there is no person, thought, idea, memory, image, feeling, or sensation from the past, in the present, or even to arrive in the future that could stop you from becoming a success. I am safe in this space and powerful in my place. You will even surprise yourself as you notice your success rate improving with every breath you take. Not only will you get the results, but you will also enjoy life more. I am safe in this space and powerful in my place. Your attitude will be one of positive thoughts and feelings. Your expectations will be of success. You are quickly becoming an inspiration to others. You already realize that you have a unique ability to remember things that are important to you. I am safe in this space and powerful in my place. You'll be pleased to realize that from this moment on, two wonderful things will be taking place. When you see or meet someone that is motivated, you will experience a strong desire to become more motivated. When you see or meet someone with a lack of motivation, you will be determined not to be this way. This determination will increase your motivation. I am safe in this space and powerful in my place. You know that we all have three ways in which we learn. We learn by hearing, seeing, and feeling. Over the next few days and weeks coming ahead, you will be learning by hearing. Every time you hear your mobile phone ring or buzz, consciously or unconsciously, it will reinforce all of the positive learnings and suggestions that I've inspired in you today. This will be a cycle of progress that you will feel your self-awareness rise daily, like turning the sound up on a stereo. Every time you hear your mobile phone ring or buzz, your self-awareness and motivation will continue to rise. I am safe in this space and powerful in my place. From this moment on, there is no person, thought, idea, memory, image, feeling, or sensation from the past and the present, or even to arrive in the future, that can stop you being a success. Your positive thoughts guide you, and the more positive I am every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. I am safe in this space and powerful in my place. Okay, in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'll emerge you. I'll count from 1 up to 5. At the count of 5 and not before, open your eyes, fully alert, totally refreshed, and feeling wonderful in every way. And on the last number, and only on the last number, and when you've accepted the power of each suggestion, you will let your eyes open, feeling refreshed, inspired, and positive in every way. 1. Start to notice your surroundings, but still very relaxed. Just feel the sensations of breathing. 2. You may begin to notice a peaceful calmness with every breath in and out that you take. Breathing normally now, simply cover the breath with your awareness. 3. Slowly, easily, and gently feel yourself coming back up to your full awareness. Feel your hands on your lap. Gradually become aware of the sensations of sitting. 4. Still relaxed and calm, but notice your eyes under your eyelids clearing, like they're being bathed in a cool mountain stream. I am relentlessly determined, motivated. The more positive I am every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. On the next count, eyes open, fully alert, feeling fantastic in every way. Get ready now. Number 5. Open those eyes and see how good you feel. And you feel good, don't you? Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you are feeling a bit spacey, and you might or you might not, because everyone's a bit different, but if you are, some cold water will bring you out of that space. But as it's 7 o'clock, you might want to stay there. So we're just a couple of moments from finishing. So just in summary for you guys, just so you can see what we've covered again, there's no one reality and you are choosing your experience. You can influence those 134 bits of information that you receive every second and the experience that you have in the moment by doing the following: creating powerful goals, using affirmations, gratitude, and understanding a bit more about those filters that are in your reticulator activating system. And we all know your relationship filter now, so you can use that one. And when it comes to problem solving and brainstorming, take yourself into Hakalau, into expanded awareness, and challenge yourself to 13 ideas on your problem solving so that you can access all that wonderful stuff and those resources that are sitting in your unconscious mind. Okay, so that is everything from me. I hope you found that valuable. And there's my details if anybody wants to get in contact. If you have questions, you're very welcome to contact me. Or if you have any now, Lucas, we're 1 minute from the end.
Yeah, but if you want to take some time to answer questions, Michelle, that would be amazing. I was just reading out really nice comments. Delphine was asking, how many times can we do this? Can we self-hypnotize ourselves? Is there any way that she can do it?
Yes,
again?
To self-hypnotize. So when I work with people with hypnotizing, I actually teach them to self-hypnotize. And I've actually put together a program called HipFlow, which I'm currently delivering to the team over at Nova Radio. And one of the things I'm teaching everyone to do is to self-hypnotize, so they can do this reprogramming when they want and to deeply relax. So I don't have time to teach you that now, but you learn to self-hypnotize.
Okay, awesome. And then I invite everyone, no, Michelle invites everyone. If, I don't know, maybe Michelle, you want to answer some questions? I can see other faces: Lucia, Leslie, Katie, Angie, Carolina, Noosh, Tamara. Anyone? Or maybe just a few words of gratitude to Michelle. Anything that you want to share? It's amazing.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased you found it useful, but if you've got any questions, do shout.
Yeah, just I wanted to say to Michelle, thanks a lot. Yeah, definitely I feel a lot of gratitude for this experience. It was awesome, so very powerful, so thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And I've got just a question regarding what you said about the language, because it's funny, as you can hear, I'm French. And I noticed that sometimes when I want to get boost before an important meeting, I speak to myself in English. I know it's not my mother language, but it's funny because when I have some English affirmation, in English, I feel I've got more energy. I don't know why, but it's very weird, but that's what I noticed. So.
That is interesting. So any language that we understand, and it doesn't matter about the speed of it, then it will have the impact. So for example, if I was in the hypnotherapy at certain places, I talk quite quickly. And even if that's not, depending on your level of English, something that you would normally talk at that speed, the fact that you know those words, it doesn't matter, your unconscious actually follows everything that I'm saying. And so equally with this, if there's certain phrases and expressions that you've really built neural pathways around in regards to going into a meeting, then they absolutely resonate. So it doesn't have to be your first language, as you proved, to kind of have that powerful effect. It's just really important how we talk to ourselves.
Yeah, there are different energy from different languages.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Pleasure. Any other questions?
Apparently not.
No, okay.
No, a lot of words of gratitude, Michelle. You might want to read the chat.
I am having a yes. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so many words of gratitude. On behalf of the Academy, Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully, we'll be able to have you back soon. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Again, you can follow us in Eventbrite as well to keep attending to our Tuesday workshops, or visit our website. I've shared the details in the top of the chat. And that would be pretty much the end for today. So thanks a lot for coming in. Hope you loved it, enjoyed it. I surely did. And I hope you'll have a lovely rest of the week.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Please, Michelle.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a fantastic night. Bye-bye.
Lovely night, guys.
Bye.